What's going on, guys? It's actually Ensues again with the next part of our PWD. You could basically call this the season breakdown. This ain't the team breakdown. This is the entire season breakdown. And I'm just gonna keep it totally real with y'all. This one might come off as a little controversial because of the battles that take place within this video. First of all, one of the coaches that we cover in this video is my game against our good friend Arts. So you know that that's going to have a lot of back and forth banter in it. And there's also this one. Week 6, this would bring us to. And I played against Coach Shade of Defeat and the Straw Hat Crocodiles. So you would notice, possibly, that I have One Piece based nicknames as kind of a taunt to his Straw Hat Crocodiles, but it was a friendly taunt. You know, playing along, you would pretty much say. However, this match became controversial because it went to timer, was disputed, and the coach ended up leaving the league when the rest of the league would not accept us playing the timer cutoff point through a finish, you know, when one person is out of Pokemon on Showdown. They ended up leaving the league, and so this became controversial. However, without getting into drama, this was also when I started to really dive deep into my prep. I felt like I was starting to pick up some momentum in the season. A lot of my friends were giving me a hard time about that 6-0 still. Little did I know that they would still be giving me a hard time about that 6-0 no matter how good I ended up doing that season, because I ended up taking the first seed in the entire league, and I still hear about that 6-0 in other leagues. So it is what it is. You know, we talked about that in the last video, and we picked up some other Pokemon to prevent that from happening again. That was just part of the season. It just happened. You can't win all, you can win all your games, but even the number one seed didn't win all their games. I lost 2, and one of them was in dramatic fashion. Anyways, this is when I really started diving to another level in my prep. I started studying coach tendencies. I started studying deeper levels of my game plan. I started going through a new 5-step process of my game plans, and I really felt like I could outcoach this coach, even though they definitely had a better roster than mine. Although my roster was definitely good enough to compete with anybody in the league. They had Cinderace. They also had a Blastoise. It just wasn't G-Max. They had Zoroark. They had Steelix. They actually had Sableye up until this point. Me and Coach Shade had talked on some off, the record conversations, because we were friends and such about him wanting to pick up my Glalie, and I told him the only thing that I would take for it was the Sableye. He agreed to trade me the Sableye, but he said he didn't want to play against the Sableye, so we agreed under the table to trade the Sableye after this game. And then after that, the coach up and left the league. Which, if I would have known that he was going to do that, I've said it before, but it's also the kind of thing that I'm not going to even try to re-reverse. It's just better to move on. With the coach gone, it is what it is. We found a great replacement. Can't wait for him to return in Season 3. Coach Bobo, because I didn't get to play him. But, I wouldn't have done that if I known he was going to leave the league, because it wasn't the new coach's decision. He didn't have any say in that decision. And Glalie a really niche Pokemon as well. So, anyway, we're going to get into... I can't go over all of my notes, but I can go over things like... Game plan was basically to neutralize the Cinderace, scout for the Zoroark, and set up this Blastoise here to win. So we have the Surf, Aura Sphere, Earthquake coverage. Earthquake hits... What specifically? Lantern, which basically walls the set, and it kind of did. I had to get damage on that. And Toxtricity, of course, which maybe could have been Scarf, but there's really no way to outspeed at +2. Being base 75 versus base 78. On Blastoise, that's kind of the point. As long as I ran max speed, my +2 is going to be his +2. So... the EV spread on the Blastoise, if I would pull that up exactly, EV spread 136 in attack, 120 modest special attack, and 252 speed. So yes, it was a mixed set, mostly special. Earthquake covers to deal with the Lantern, which I had also seen him. I have in my notes that he would run it bulky. I believe he ran it with Assault Vest at some point. So then we had a premiere, what kind of became a big key for me throughout the season, which was Atomize Aegislash. I started to really favor this set, or that move on this Pokemon at least, in different ways, because I did use it in multiple ways, and we'll get to that in the next battle. But basically, Dual Stab, King Shield, Atomize. The EV spread is 140 HP, 116 speed, which, you know, there's not a whole lot on the Straw Hat Crocodile team that Aegislash could outspeed, but we wanted to make sure that we could outspeed a min speed Lantern, and that's kind of it. That's honestly kind of it. But it was important because that was such a big wall against my team. We had Tangrowth, nicknamed Jinbei, this week after, of course, a One Piece character. The EV spread on this, of course, as you can see, it's going to be a mixed wall, great wall, all throughout the season. Probably my most consistent Pokemon throughout the season. It rocks the 248 HP, 72 plus on the defense, and 188 on the special defense. So, yeah, that's looking at, you know, you cut those in half at level 50, basically, for the battle. But that's my mixed wall Tangrowth for this week. For moves, it's rocking Sleep Powder, Earthquake, Seed Bomb, and Synthesis. Next, we have the Miltank. It's rocking Protect, Stealth Rocks, Body Press, and Earthquake. So, pretty much can tell it's going to be a defensive EV spread. We got a random 16 HP, 84 attack, 252 plus defense, and 156 speed, because we want to make sure that we don't get outsped by Braviary at any speed. So no matter how fast he ran the Braviary, the Miltank would still be faster. and could take a close combat from that, or a max knuckle because of its defense. For Zatu, we have a mostly defensive spread. There was a good, I mean, I brought extra defensive walls against Shade because I felt that his physical Pokemon were pretty good against me. Cinderace and Braviary, particularly. Um, he did have big threats in like Zoroark and Blastoise. And of course, if he did bring Toxtricity, which was his G-Max, this would count as well. But like, basically with Ice Beam coverage on Blastoise, Toxtricity and Zoroark are obvious. Zatu couldn't handle any of the special defensive rolls anyway. So I just ran full 252 plus defense on that with 220 speed because actually, yeah, we want to make sure that we don't get outsped by the Braviary. And $36 in attack. Yeah. So it's got Roost, Light Screen, Reflect, U-Turn. Of course, the item was Light Clay. By the way, this was Choppleberry, if I didn't mention that, for the Braviary as well. You know, with Tangrowth being one of my best walls, and it just being a Pokemon that if I allowed it to set up bulk ups and stuff could be really annoying against me, I wanted to make sure I had some checks for the Braviary. And then I also brought Hitmonchan with the Assault Vest. It's 252, 252, 4 on the EV spread with Rapid Spin, Earthquake, Drain Punch, and Thunder Punch. You know, pretty self-explanatory, hazard removal, and, you know, the best coverages against his team. You know, like I said, he's got things like Toxtricity, Cinderace, you don't take the Earthquake, Blastoise, Braviary, you can deal with Thunder Punch, Zoroark, Steelix, you can hit him with the Drain Punch, so, you know, pretty simple set. And that's, I already said how that one turned out. We did end up picking up the win here. At this point, we were 5-1, yes, because this was week 6. But it was a really close timer win, and that was where we needed to find a new coach. So moving on, as the drama continues, we go up against a good friend and a great battler, Arts of the Lake of Rage Gyarados, and at this stage in the season, I just came off of a little bit of a hot streak, and Arts was sitting on top of the league. He had pretty much commanded strong from the beginning, without the kind of blemish that I had or at least that people, you know, they love to see the giant fall. They love to see, they love to see David beat Goliath. Not that Ryan was David, but like I said, they just love to see you fall when you're doing your best. So they still talk about that 6-0 to these days because there's no other 6-0 for them to talk about on me. And week 7 definitely was not the case, although Coach Arts did hand us our second loss of the season. I think I kind of went a little too many directions with this team in general. I'm going to get into that as I go. You know, this one I kind of consider it's not a loss, it's a lesson, because I kind of beat myself with not making a team that was cohesive. It had too many moving parts, and I was really hoping I almost was certain that I would end up playing Arts at some point again in the playoffs. And definitely after this match, looked at it like, man, I really could have done a lot of things different, especially in the prep stages. So to get into the spreads and the moves, I showed you the moves on the Blastoise. physical Blastoise. This week it was Assault Vest to, help with or to take hits from Vileplume and be able to survive Dusknoir. Sorry, I need a drink. But HP 72, max attack, and 184 speed. I believe that was just enough to outspeed the Gyarados, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it was only even Adamant Gyarados. I'm not sure exactly, but it was definitely for Gyarados. For this week we had this is one of the sets that was the most confusing in this week's prep. I have a pretty slow Aegislash. I have 84 speed, 172 defense, and 252 modest special attack. We brought a Totemize, Shockwave, of course for Gyarados, which was taking the league by storm at this point. Flash Cannon and Shadow Ball. I'm going to talk about this set as well. I'm going to actually skip ahead. I brought Trick Room, Teleport, basically full support because Rapid Spin is not very useful as an attack. Claydol, of course, that's become my staple nickname for Claydol, Fukyu. It's just my favorite thing to call Claydol for some reason. The EV spread on this, it's got 220 speed to be able to get the Trick Room off against things like Grimmsnarl if it's, trying to attack with like a dark type attack, obviously. And 248 HP, 40 defense, probably just to throw the excess in defense. So yeah, it was going to... One of the complicated and not cohesive parts of my game plan was to attempt to try to set up Trick Room, teleport out, back into Aegislash, have the advantage in speed because I'm slow, but then the last turn of Trick Room, a Totemize. And that was just like, looking back on it, it's just way too much. Way too much. So, that's just that's an L for a lesson on this one for sure. We also, wasn't using our Blastoise to really, sweep. Let's just be honest. That's kind of maybe one of the things I could have done different or tried. But we brought standard EV spread on the Tangrowth because we wanted to do everything we could to survive max Airstreams from the Gyarados. So it's, kind of a self-explanatory set. It's got Sleep Powder for Dynamax users like Gyarados, Leech Seed, Giga Drain, Poison Jab. It's kind of just doing its thing. Medusa's the nickname on this one. It's because we eventually find our permanent nickname for Tangrowth. Just keep watching and you'll see. Speaking of which, we get close on permanent nicknames with Apollonia 6, the Salazzle. I imagine not a lot of people probably get this nickname. I'm a huge Prince fan. And the poison thing, especially Max Ooze. Its ability to poison any type Pokemon kind of just made me think of the whole purple rain thing. And especially with the female vibes, because in the movie Prince had the all-female band, and his love interest in the movie Purple Rain was Apollonia. He actually dated her in real life, but that's neither here nor there. It's just where I got the nickname from. So this week We ran Belch and Overheat just to make our max attacks better, but this is basically just a dual stab. Choice Scarf. Salazzle, we only ran 216 speed because his fastest Pokemon was Lycanroc. There's no outspeeding it in the sand, but we, make sure that we outspeed it with Choice Scarf as well as without. So yeah, it was 40 in HP and 216 in speed just to cover Lycanroc. And then we also have Khalees, which Arts did appreciate this nickname. I gotta say, he didn't never say nothing about my Pappy Mason nickname, which was a total shout out to my friends from New York. But he liked the nickname Khalees. I mean, I like milkshakes too, but I usually get mine to go, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, we only ran 244 speed to make sure that we outspeed the Silvally, which was only 5. We ran 244 speed to outspeed the base 95 Silvally versus the base 100 Miltank. 12 attack, 252 defense with Earthquake, Milk Drink, Body Press, and Thunder Punch. This is another set where maybe I was going too many directions in it, kind of fast. It has the Salic Berry, but yet at the same time, it's like trying to attempt to deal with Gyarados with the Thunder Punch and do damage based on his defensive stat with the Body Press. I just don't know about the cohesiveness of this team in whole. I already talked about the Claydol set. So, I mean, Coach Arts had a great season. He was killing it at this point in the league. We didn't end up running it back in playoffs, but if we did, I definitely would not have brought anything like this team right here. I just really looked back at this one as like not a good prep week. But that brings us on to week 8, where we play against another great friend and battler, Coach Bishme of the New York Nickets. We start picking up quite a bit of steam in this one, but I think this was one of my better battles. If you really want to see a good battle, you should really check out this video. It's on my, the video on my channel of PWD Season 2, Week 8. We brought the Shell Smash Blastoise back. The spread is 252 attack, 72 special defense, 184 plus speed. It can outspeed everything it needs to, except for Venusaur in the sun. So basically that was the theme of the battle, and this was a really tight battle. You really got to watch it to appreciate it. But I think this was one of my best battles of the season, as well as Coach Bishme's. Apollonia wants to say come back. We dropped the 6 just to make it a little cleaner and simpler, less confusing. Although I did think the Apollonia 6 was the name of the band in the movie, and Apollonia was the girl. Anyway, Focus Sash on Salazzle this week. 196 speed, my bad. 60 defense and 252 special attack with the Nasty Plot, Flamethrower, Sludge Wave, and Dragon Pulse. Just for the things that he can't hit super effectively as like a neutral hit. He doesn't have, she does not have many coverage options, so sometimes you just bring the Dragon Pulse. Khalees the Miltank definitely made her best performance of the season in this game when I brought the Heal Bell. It ended up, my Blastoise got paralyzed I should also add, Digurin, my Blastoise, got I can't remember, was it sleep and paralyzed? It got status twice, irregardless, and needed both the Lumberry and the support from Khalees the Miltank in order to be able to pick up the basically kind of reverse sweep, but ended up pick up the win for me in a very close fashion. Um, Stealth Rock, Milk Drink, Body Press, and Heal Bell definitely bringing a much more cohesive and uh, playing to its strengths on this set. Doing one thing, I think is more what I mean to say. But we're rocking max defense, 52 in special defense, and 204 in speed. I think that the 52 in special defense is more consequential, and the speed is really the important stat here, because we want to make sure that Bishmi's team has a lot of really like close speed tiers, and also a lot of ways like chlorophyll to boost his speed, but we wanted to make sure that we outsped the things that were under base 100, basically saying. Not Today is my usual permanent nickname for Xatu, and I really, really wanted to do my best to try to get a kill with this Pokemon this week, but this season in general, and it never happened. But I think this was the closest I came. I brought the Assault Vest. EV Spread is not offensive, but it does have 60 special attack EVs with 196 plus speed and 252 special defense for obvious reasons. Venusaur is a big threat. Charizard's a threat. Ninetales, Heliolisk, you're probably not taking a hit, but that's not the point. The point is, good special attacks coming from Coach Bishmi and the New York Nickets. So we brought the Assault Vest, max special defense. Xatu. So of course we brought 4 attacks, and I really thought that I might be able to sneak it out and switch out and hit something with the Future Sight for the last bit of damage, and it just didn't work out. So we have Apollo Creed. We're still experimenting with nicknames on the Hitmonchan at this point, but we brought it with 212 speed, 44 special defense, Choice Band, max attack, Bullet Punch, Drain Punch, Ice Punch, and Stone Edge. So like I said, it's Choice Band, it's coverage, it's pretty self-explanatory. Priority, definitely one of the big things that Hitmonchan was ever provided for me consistently throughout the season. And that's basically that set. So moving on, we got Queen Beryl, the Mawile. This became my permanent nickname for this Mawile, although she was kind of sacked in this game. I had brought a Sheer Force, Life Orb, Sub, Swords Dance, Mawile in case. This was my lead against Grimmsnarl. If they went to set up 2 turns of screens, I'll set up my own thing. It didn't work out. But we did end up picking up the win this week against Coach Bishmi in week 8. So that's good. And, that's all, that's all I got to really say about that. So we'll move on to week 9, which is one of the more interesting games as well of the season, against Coach Squid, packing the S tier Ditto, which is famous for using creatively. So this was one that I remember prepping all week for. Actually, I believe I battled Bishmi on a Wednesday and tried to get it out the way early just to really tune in and focus on this battle. So anyway, I'm over here hitting buttons and stuff. The Blastoise was Shell Smash. We wanted to get the best possible max cannonade that we could against this. And Mirror Coat as a little special tech for maybe Rotomo, maybe Gengar. You never really, maybe even Duosion. So we were rocking in this spread. We were rocking 64 HP, max special attack, and 192 speed. To make sure we outspeed everything with a choice scarf at +2, including his Pokemon, which are faster. So now, one of the other big themes against Coach Squid is that I felt that although he had plenty of tools at his disposal, some of the teams I faced, had Cinderaces, Gyarados, and I was able to wall them pretty effectively. I felt like I could definitely do that more than effectively against this team. It just doesn't have all of the big hitters like that, like other ones did. So I brought a few extra defensive Pokemon. My team is kind of fat in general with Aegislash, Tangrowth, Miltank, Blastoise even. I had a pretty fat team, and I just really played to that advantage this week. Max special defense and max HP. Sub-toxic King Shield and just the Shadow Sneak for priority and damage. It's really not... Everybody knows what that kind of set does. It subs, toxics, King Shields mostly. Then we finally get the nickname right on the Tangrowth. ShamWow, because it soaks up everything. I came up with that in the calculations for this battle. We didn't bring mixed defense this week, so it technically doesn't soak up everything. But Tangrowth has such a great natural defense that it kind of does. Yes. But of course, you got to remember we have the Assault Vest boost. And with that being said, the EV spreads 120 in HP, 140 special attack, and 148 plus special defense. So it's rocking Earthquake, Giga Drain, Knockoff, and Sludge Bomb. We wanted to make sure that we picked up the kills on the things we needed to, like Quagsire, Crocodile, things like that. But definitely more of a wall than an attacking Pokemon. I attempted to bring this set again against Coach Squid. I did get the Toxic off against a couple things, but I didn't still get to use the full set. But Substitute is one of the best ways to deal with Ditto. So we explained this set in the last video. If you didn't check that out, make sure that you go back and do that, because in order to, this is the third part of the set. There'll be 3 parts to this video, and in the third part, you'll really get to see how I grew throughout the season. I definitely grew a lot. And we explained this set fully in the last video. It is the same set. Max, 252, 252, 4. So we'll just move on to the Miltank set. We brought the Salicberry Miltank again this week with Thick Fat. We got Stealth Rock, Fire Punch for the Rotom-Mow, and the Escavalier. Definitely did a lot to that. Earthquake and Body Press. Jolly Nature. I found that the Body Press wasn't the most effective, but it was basically only going to be used against Crocodile and maybe type Null, in which both cases it's kind of better than the weak fighting moves that Miltank already had. The EV spread on this one was basically a perfect mix of attack and defense, because I got 156 attack, 156 defense, and 196 plus speed to make sure that we're outspeeding Sock and Crocodile and Rotom-Mow if it's not Scarfed, or if we get the boost from the Salicberry. Money, I believe I ended up using this one every time I used it for the rest of the season. This became my new Hitmonchan nickname. It was named after Floyd Money Mayweather, because shiny Hitmonchan is green. And it's Choice Scarfed, rocking the Rapid Spin, Drain Punch, Throat Chop, Fire Punch. It's only got 188 speed, but it has like a mid speed in this matchup with 76. And being able to outspeed oops. Be able to outspeed non choice scarf Gengar was kind of a big deal. Like I said, we're rocking the throat chop. We can do big damage to Escavalier as well as Crocodile, and we ended up picking up the win as well. And this week, a little bit more. Well, no, actually, let me correct myself. I think this one was like a 3-2. But it was a little bit more clear because I kind of walled out his team like I had planned to do than having to come back against Bishmi. But it was a high-level game. Definitely one to watch. But that's all I'm covering in this video. When we come back, this was my week 9 match. So we were 7-2 at this point and had to win out in order to claim the top seed over some of the other coaches that were all extremely competitive throughout the entire league. Coach Arts, Shiny Shuriken, Coach Sosa of the Los Angeles Infernapes. And we got some epic battles to cover how we ended up pulling off some wins in the next video. So make sure you're on the lookout for that. Until then, I'm signing off. Peace.